I chose a topic, human rights and human development. Why? Why human rights and human development? Let me just share with you some facts and figures. At the end of, if we will be ending this session, let's say an hour from now, close to 1,500 people will be dying from extreme poverty, hunger, malnutrition around the world. Every 6 seconds, baby is dying. Every 6 seconds. Just imagine, we cannot imagine. Every day, 24,000 people are dying from extreme poverty, hunger, lack of medical services. More than 10 million per year. Third of the population of this planet live less than $2 a day. More than 2 billion people no access to water. These are figures which usually are being spoken in the context of development. So we say this is development challenges, and therefore let us deal with it in the context of development. But I feel that first and foremost, this is human rights. This is the basic human right of people to live in dignity, to have access to medical services, to education, to health, to food security. And I think that we are missing out by discussing it only in the context of development and not in the context of human rights. I mean, I don't remember either the General Assembly or the Human Rights Commission discussing these staggering, frightening, disturbing figures, shocking figures in this context. But I'm not discussing that in order to get away from issues which you know that in many cases Israel is being criticized of violating human rights. One of the previous speakers, I heard what she had to say, which was, I think, just appalling. But I would just like to refer to the latest development that had to do with the Human Rights Commission. The chairman of the Human Rights Commission, Professor Shavas, just resigned. He resigned since it was discovered that he actually had contractual ties with the PA, giving them a legal opinion about 2 years ago of the need to take the Israelis to the ICC. And when we were claiming, listen, that doesn't make sense that he will be the chairman of a committee, that he shouldn't be biased, he should be, again, these are the Israelis that are coming up with arguments, etc. But the minute it was discovered that, yes, he was actually acting in bias not only towards Israel, but without any fairness, without impartiality, he had to resign. And I'm saying it because in many cases we feel that human rights, especially when we are being singled out and we have so many issues with the Human Rights Commission in the past, we have to be extremely careful. And the way we are handling this issue, not to politicize it. We have a situation where the human rights had more anti-Israeli resolution than North Korea, Iran, and Syria combined. I think that's tells it all. So I just would like to say in this case that when it comes to when we are facing enormous challenges, and the recent conflict in Gaza, surrounding Gaza, just took place last year, that Israel is making serious efforts to maintain international law in fighting a Hamas, which is recognized by Europe, by the Netherlands as a terrorist organization. And this, we're doing it as means of self-defense in accordance to international humanitarian law. Let me just tell you, Madam President, that all soldiers in IDF, all soldiers in the Israeli army are familiar with the principles of international law, humanitarian law. And high-ranking officers receive advanced education in international humanitarian law. Independent legal advisors are placed in each division. Independent legal advice is incorporated in the planning phase. The final decision on legality belongs to civil authority and Attorney General, the Attorney General. Yes, every conflict results with, unfortunately, civilians that are being hurt, being killed. In history, there's no one sterile conflict. Always civilians are being killed. But what we are doing is that we have a thorough examination and fact-finding mechanism to look into each and every case. We're doing it first because we are demanding it from ourselves. It's not because of any pressure coming from the international community. So let me end this part by saying that the first chapter of the Israeli investigation report on Operation Protective Edge, which took place last summer, will be published in the next few days and will display evidence before the international community. And I think that will be a testimony of our efforts to make sure that we do the utmost not to hurt civilians. Certainly there's no intention. If civilians unfortunately are being hurt because they are being used as human shields in heavily populated area, and that was the purpose of attacking us from heavily populated area, it's a mistake, sometimes the wrong judgment. Wrong judgment is certainly not a crime that has to do with violating of human rights. Let me go back to my opening remarks and talk about international human law and Israel when we're looking at the global effort to meet the basic challenges which I was referring to before. It was Theodor Herzl, the visionary of the State of Israel, that way back in 1902, he wrote a book, Alt Neuland. Then he was thinking already of the re-establishment of a Jewish state of Israel. And he wrote in his book something very interesting. He said, after redeeming the Jewish people, we should redeem the people of Africa. Because he realized then that the international community has to make an extra effort in alleviating poverty, suffering, hunger. And this principle was embedded in the minds and hearts of the founders of the State of Israel. And you might be surprised, Mr. Chairman, that Israel is one of the pioneers in sharing with others the expertise and knowledge, because we ourselves, when Israel was born in 1948, was established, we needed the help, all the help that we could get from well-developed countries. But we felt that as part of the brotherhood of young emerging nations, we should also share whatever we have with others. And therefore we are very proud of the fact that, we have been able to find many solutions to water scarcity in Israel, in our region, to shortage of basic commodities, food, etc. And we realized that many of the solutions that we have been able to develop are relevant to many of other countries which are facing similar challenges, whether it's drip irrigation, whether it's agriculture in arid and semi-arid zones, having able to cope with difficult climatic conditions. And I'm very proud myself that I had the possibility to head Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation twice, for altogether almost 13 years, traveling the world and able to see suffering, able to see the results of the horrific statistics which I shared with you before. And you feel that something has to be done, because what is the result of the fact that people are not doing well, people are hungry, people are bitter? It's instability, crime, terrorism, illegal immigration. This is the result. Because if someone has nothing to lose, if a person, he or she have nothing to lose in their own country because they are not able to grow enough food, they are not able to make a living, they will find a way to move elsewhere, whether it's to Europe, whether it's to North America, because they have nothing to lose. They could be prey for criminal elements or being recruited by terrorist organizations. Therefore, this is human rights. This is not that other aspects of human rights which have been discussed are not important. But I still feel that we are neglecting probably the most important aspect of human rights, to enable each and every person on this planet to have access to clean water. I mean, we take it for granted. We go into the tap and we open the tap and there's water. Just imagine that half of this planet, they don't have this basic commodity, basic ability to open a tap, running water, to have not 3 meals a day, one meal a day. This is not just development. First and foremost, the right to live in dignity, not in extreme poverty, not in hunger, and not to think where and when will be my next meal. This is basic human rights that I feel is not addressed in this context. And Madam Chairman, if this forum can put this aspect of human rights on the agenda, not just from the point of view of development, and not to look just as human rights as we know it, and especially I refer to it more from the political point of view, a way of bashing this one or that one. Let us first address the most important and burning challenge that we have, because in 2050 there will be close to 11 billion people on this planet. Do we have enough food? Do we have enough water? Do we have enough educational facilities, health facilities? No, we do not. What is the answer? How is it going to affect each and every one of us? I've seen it because, I traveled some places that need urgent help. But this is not only a development challenge, first and foremost, it's human rights. So I would like to share this notion with all of you, and hope that you'll give it the utmost consideration. Thank you very much.